right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is code improvement or refactoring. And this is not really an exercise as to say, but it's a hands-on thing. So you have two templates here that you can try with the original. I'm still working on the original main script. So my recommendation is to log these prompts on your space so that you can use them later on. So, and those prompts are located in the YAML config file. Just give them, for example, these are. See, this is my favorite one. You know, act as a Google engineer, because Google engineers have a good reputation of being good at encoding. So you ask the model to act as a Google engineer and review the here is Python code. So, but if it's a JavaScript, then provide put the right language, and then you put your code here after this block. So once again, do not repeat yourself. Log the prompt so you can use it for another project, another code, and you don't have to always manual copy pasting things. And this is what I will do at least. And try to see which one works better for you. You know, for the main script, you can find at the very beginning of the the code is here, exercise 2. But the original one, it's on exercise 1. Yeah, I didn't put any wrapper for the function. So this was the raw. Oh, not exactly the same, but the very, very original was really was a bit different. I have to reformat a bit the code with the black. So I don't know if you know black. Oh, okay. You pip install black, and you apply black. It's a formatter. It will format your code. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I will mention and present ref on Wednesday.
Okay. Okay. So let me. But this was already formatted. So, oh no, it wasn't. No, it's not. It's not. So here's an occasion, and Thomas will say more about it. But let me just add black, UV, add black. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, because I didn't use UV in it. Oh, no. Okay, because I'm not in the right directory. Yes. Yeah, and look at this code when I'm going to add UV run black with the dot here, meaning the current directory. It will format automatically the code. So here, this doesn't follow the standard pip8 recommendation. But when I run this, eventually, see, my code was automatically formatted, which is much more, it's better than it was before. So yeah, black is a nice tool to use to format your code. But anyway, so yeah, you have this script here, and you can use it with the prompt. If you don't have an integrated LLM, you just go, okay, you can do manual copy pasting, but it's just painful to do it. You paste the prompt and you're gonna take the code here, and then, well, oops. Okay, let's see what will a Google engineer. Okay, well, suggestion. Okay. Docstring, of course. Why? No. Error handling and all that. And then yeah, you can try with CodeStrel. Once you've registered your prompt, once again, if you forgot, let me do it, just in case. You're going to continue. Okay, but it's in, no, the prompts are over here. Okay, screen is too small, right? And you can add your prompt here. But if you add them here, it will be only for this project, which means that if you create another project, the prompt won't last. But if you want to set a global setup, then you should go and edit the YAML config file from the, this YAML file. Yeah. Real path. Okay. Yeah, this path here. Well, it's my username, so let me. Okay. So yeah, that's the. This is where you register your prompt. Okay, I should specify here. Improver. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Okay, this one was really short, but you can add your prompt, and so you can reuse them. Okay. Yeah, sure.
So I didn't add the row edit,
Yes.
but in any way it edited my code.
It did your?
It edited it, so it would edit.
Okay, but
But I have to accept.
okay, okay,
So
but
if I add the row, it will do it without me accepting.
no. You still have control over it. You still have control. I think the edit functionality is for the plan mode and the agent modes, mostly. But yeah, you still can. But then he will ask you to. Anyway, he will ask you to, unless you put. There is a configuration where you can give, all rights, but I won't recommend that. To have a agent that has access to file system. You can't activate them, but you should be careful. And I will show you in a minute, I mean, not in a minute, but I will show you later how you can trigger, the built-in tool. These are the file systems. This is actually, these are MCP servers, and I've deactivated on purpose because it's just too dangerous. And I've seen people having issues with the MCP servers, especially file system. The write, anything like write things and therefore delete things. And that can be dangerous. Anyway, I'm assuming that you've you've tried these, sorry, code improvement. Yeah, you just try it and you'll see that it will give you a recommendation, and always judge, the output. Always try to understand what it says. Don't just accept, And sometimes it's better to compare. For example, code style. And here, the more model you have, the more option, more different answers that you can compare. So, for example, for this prover, I can use with code strat here, but before that, I have access to other model because, I requested, and I can use, this is a model from AI for EOSC. Let me just add the main.py file. And we'll do the same thing, and then, well, it's a bit slower because okay, it's still generating. Plotting improvement, okay, whatever, but and you can go back with the same question, try different model, and this is very handy because I can have okay, but it's slower, and given the fact that the internet connection is also slow, well. And that's what I did when I produced the code from the previous exercise, where I put some bugs here and there. I organized first the code and then put, okay, whatever, well. I mean, it's working. I mean, but you have to judge. Does it think that, okay, you can choose to apply, but I won't do it. Okay, are there any questions so far? It's all about prompting. It's all about, being the judge, controlling the output. And one of the things that you may be interested in is to have a tool, an AI agent or an AI system that does that automatically, and by sending feedback to the user. Okay, are you happy with this? Just like it did here, using our own rules. For example, is the generated code, is it aligned with our institution? I mean, are there malicious commands within the code? I mean, those are something that you can try to develop. And by the way, I didn't even run the pcoffee, but let me see. Where was the requirements? Let me see. Okay, UV add numpy. It require matplotlib. Okay, I'm just too lazy. I can lib. Okay, Seaborn. And what else? SciPy. I'm guessing. UV run main. Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Think. Okay, yeah, it's working. Fine. No bugs so far. Okay, let me go back to my slides. Okay. All right. Now, if there are no questions, I'll just move on to the next thing I want to mention about AI, coding with AI, is code translation. And the goal is that you have, say, a JavaScript code that you probably don't understand, and you want a Python equivalent code. That's the idea. Or you're looking at old C++ code and you want to translate that into something you know, maybe Rust, maybe Python again. So yeah, that's the idea. And actually, and this is part of the Google recommendation, you know, that you can use AI to do that. So the best way to experiment this is to, you know, to try to understand this code. This is a code in Rust without any comment. I mean, I took out all comments so that to make it even more obscure. And I don't know if that link points to the right thing, but because I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it won't. Apparently, yeah, I don't know why, but I might have, let me just, oh, I think there's a typo. Oh, okay, it's in the link, okay. My apologies. But it's, if you go on the lectures here, you will find the exercise and the code so that you can just paste, copy paste the code. It must be somewhere here. Let me see. Code translation, yeah. These are, I mean, I removed everything on purpose. I mean, this one is much more, it's not involved, so I left the command. But I think the first two examples are interesting because, especially the second one, I'd like to know if you understand what's going on behind this using AI or just by your own understanding what it refers to. And I'm pretty sure if you use a very recent model, it will be able to catch really what's going on. Let me try to find a Rust playground somewhere. There must be. Okay, there is a Rust playground here. Okay, here's my, yeah. I can run to see if there is a bug. No, there isn't. So at least it's working. But it's good to know what it does. And
these short examples, they work, of course, very nicely due to my experience.
pardon?
These short examples which you show here, they work perfectly. Also,
Yeah.
in most cases, almost. Is there a rule of thumb how long you can give a code? Can you give a code of 1,000, 2,000 lines and say
no.
In a new language and it should work from now on?
Okay, that's a good question. And the answer is it depends on the so-called model context, you know, because the LLM needs, must be able to attend, you know, has a context limitation, you know, that when you go beyond those number of tokens, it won't be able to perform attentions, you know, so the answer is no.
Is it the problem that it is, if I would use a commercial application, that it could use many more
Well,
tokens? Or
yes, yes,
go
definitely.
deeper in the issues that it cannot take too
Okay. There are two things. The way the model was trained, if it was trained to understand code, and the context living number of tokens it can handle. So yeah, you have to balance between those two. But what you can do is to give portions of the code, and slowly maybe we'll able to summarize. I mean, instead of giving the whole.
means always that you need to test your portions also to some extent, whether it still does what it should,
Oh yeah, but
should do.
I'm hoping and I'm positive that in the future we'll have a very powerful model that can handle that, or AI systems. What I mean by AI system, it's not only one single shot that you ask and you get an answer, but it will divide your question and try to analyze piece by piece and then combine the result. That's what Claude from Anthropic does already. They don't have simply a chatbot; they have a agentic system that break down, your code into small pieces, understand it, and
And how does it act on people at all? Does it mean that people refuse now to go into programming at all because they say whatever I do, this system can
well, yeah, I mean,
myself?
yeah, I mean that's a good question. The only because what you're saying it's vibe coding, which one of the point I'm hoping we'll be talking about. The problem with vibe coding is when there is a bug in the middle, then can you still manually debug? That's the problem. Because if it use library and packages that you don't understand, then you're in trouble. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that within maybe 5 years we'll have system that will be really, really, really powerful in coding. So.
But this is a bit discouraging because 5 years is
Um,
experience what people need to get into a certain field. So if they have the feeling it is completely
that is the part of the discussion I hope we'll have in the end. But did you figure out what this code was doing just in one sentence? If you try. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's amazing because it says it itself and it says this is the lowest bound of the interval. This is the
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a very basic implementation in Rust from the Riemann integral, and the function is the x squared minus x within a 0 and 1, and just integrate that function, and that's what it does. So in the loop here, it at this line, it's computed the Riemann sums, and yeah, that's what it does. Awesome. What about the second one? Did you try it? What does the... I couldn't help but do some math. I mean, it's just... yeah, you can give it the full code and try to see what it says. And maybe AI can give you some hints about what's going on. And of course, you have to judge and evaluate what you... Pardon? Neural network. Okay, we're closer. Other suggestion? But yeah, I mean, it definitely, it's related to, but do you have an idea? What does your AI is saying? If you copy paste and say, you know what, the guy gave me this code in Rust, and what does it say? Python, can you help me understand what it says?
technical explanation and query.
It's
It's So it did a technical explanation first.
Okay.
In what context will they use this code? And it says could be machine learning, neural networks.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, yeah, that's. I did the other way around because I coded in Python, asked for a translation in Rust. But yeah, this is a basic, I mean, what's behind it's a basic attention mechanism for transformers. Transformer is the architecture between large language models. And so the intent here was just to show you, I mean, and it's obscure on purpose. So the T1, T2, and T3, these are tokens, basically. And for each token, you associate 3 vectors. One, two, and those vectors are query, key, value, and it performs the attention mechanism. That was the intent. So I created a sort of dictionary. You could imagine here that the T1 is the la in French, T2 is capital, and maybe T3 is France. There is a missing DE, but doesn't matter. And it computes the attention mechanism. And what it returns are value vectors, enriched value vectors, but that was the idea. I've started, and which is interesting because I've started with something that I truly understand, that I implement myself, and then submitted the code to AI because I don't code in Rust, and to find the equivalent. And I judge, you know what? Okay, it's working. And you translate back. It's a sort of computing not the inverse, but this section of. Okay. My advice is I can not insist enough about the fact that you should be the judge, because only translate into something you really understand, at the very least. One tip here is that if you find a code that you don't understand, maybe AI can give you hints. You translate it first so you understand. And once you understand, you can implement in that language that you already know. So instead of asking directly the AI to translate from one language to another, you go to your brain first, and then you translate, you implement that code. This is a good path. And of course, for copyright issues, and you should make sure that you have the right to submit a code, because there can be plagiarism. And finally, AI can generate malicious code that can damage your system. So yeah, you have to always pay attention when using AI code. The next thing that I would like to talk about is code completion, that we've already almost experienced with GitHub Copilot, but you can also have that in continue. It's code completion. This is a feature. It's not a skill. It's a feature that is available in IDE. So the benefit of it, let me just show you. Where is my VS Code here? Okay, let me just open a new file, create a new file here. Okay, let me call that what? Test completion, whatever. It's not a good name, but I'm gonna start to type something. Def is prime. Oh, because I think the internet connection is really slow. See, as I'm typing, it's suggesting already something. And let me go further and wait. See? And I'll just hit tab to accept. And I'm going, second line, okay, return false, which is true. If n is less than 1, then it's not a prime number. Wait a little bit. And on the hood, the LLM the model is scanning this. And there is a backend prompt that asks, you know what, a user has written this. Can you please complete the next step? So it generates tokens. Okay, but here things are, what is it gonna say? It's not saying anything, but I'm guessing it's an issue with the my connection. Okay, all right, which is true. Okay, return false. Otherwise, return true. Okay. Test is prime. It's even suggesting how should I test my code. So you have to accept by hitting tab. Okay. Yeah, well, true is a prime number, right? I know that. But remember, as I said, you should inspect the code. I mean, does it look reasonable to you? Do you understand the outputs? For this one, well, yeah, I do know that it's true, what it's saying here. Basically, it's looking for divisors. For a given number, let's say 7 or maybe 10, it will loop from 2 to the square root plus 1 of that number to find a divisor there. If you'd find one, well, then you return false, because prime numbers have only 2 divisors, 1 and itself. That's it. So yeah, the code is, I'm pretty sure it's working. And let me just comment this out. Oops. And save it. Let me just test if underscore name. Or no, I don't want pytest. You see, it's suggesting already. Sometimes autocompletion can be annoying, because you start talking. Okay, this one is much better. So if I run this code, Python test completion, yeah, 11 is a prime number. But then you should start writing tests. And when you have an AI within your system, well, let me just do this. I'm gonna improve the code first. Okay. All right. Okay. Change made. Here's the suggestion, because you don't have to. If your number is an odd number, then you can just stop right away. Okay, these are improvement. I can even go further. You know what? Add docstring. Okay, let me change the model because it's very slow. Okay, we're getting there. All right, add error handling. All right. Sure. That sounds like a, can you add a NumPy style docstring? Add example in docstring. That looks better. See, within few steps, I can have a decent code, and I'm sure that, well, you can just apply. Let me try to apply here. All right. Yep. Awesome. So I can go really faster. And when I'm there, well, if I want to write tests, when you just use it. Okay, unit test. These are my prompts, and then that's it. Oh, okay. You can inspect, and then let's just sort of test large non-prime number properly. See, these other thing that Max mentioned, that you should look for. So somehow what's important is knowing what to look for. So talking to people, talking to your colleague, asking them question will allow you to better formulate your question, your prompt. And for me, that's the most important part is the culture. Having the culture of what you should look for will definitely help you when you code with an AI model. So say that within few steps, I've started with a code completion, very basic code, enhance it, improve it, and you can even ask why the code is better. I mean, without automatically, okay, we are close to vibe coding, but still, I'm the one who judge if I want to continue, if I want to, because all the change I made was adding docstring, following command in seeking for code improvement, but the base code is yours. You're the one who set the logic. And so yeah, this is mostly how I use AI in my everyday tasks. And I gave you here, so roughly speaking, one of the benefits is the faster development, just like I did. Start with a basic code, and AI will help you add docstring. Still, you're in the loop, you inspect, and there are few errors because sometimes when you manually type, you might generate typos, but depending on your model, you can avoid all that. So you reduce the time you spend in typing long functions or classes. But there are, of course, some. Okay, and of course, it's available with Copilot, Continue, Cursor, Windsurf, and so many other plugins or applications. And you can even design one, create one, your own completion thing, but it's just, basically, it's a prompting. You add, a user is typing this, please complete. And that's what it does. So I've provided an exercise here, and you can find that exercise as well in the course material. Instead of the the is prime number I just implement. This is the function that generates the list of all prime number less than a given number. Say you have 10,000, what are all prime numbers? The reason for that is that prime numbers play crucial roles in computer science, mathematics, and so yeah. And I'm giving you the steps. Since I've already demonstrate how you use it, I mean, I'm leaving you that to you because we don't have a lot of time, and I would like to move on. But may I ask if you're comfortable with using, continuing, going back AI and code and improve it? And
I'm scared.
Pardon?
I'm scared.
Really? Well, okay. Yeah, it is true. There are concerns, you know. But on the other hand, well, as long as you're the designer, the architecture, it's fine. But if you totally delegate that, you don't even think about the logic behind or the architecture, then that will be an issue. That's, yes?
One question I have is for like closed systems, right, which don't have access to the internet. Is the local model, I would say, good enough?
Yeah, actually, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. I think the one released by Mistral and Quen and even OpenAI are actually decent, yeah. So yeah, they are, but they won't be as good as, which means that you require more attention for you for more inspection from yourself. But yeah. Wait. But now, one of the advice that I want to give you is the divide and conquer. Meaning you have a complex problem, then you can divide it into some small problem and solve it each time. This is something that we do in mathematics, in many things, not the usual understanding of this say, statement, divide and conquer, which is a bad thing in general. But here in math and science, it's a good thing. You know, when you have a small problem, break it down and solve one thing at a time. And so the first thing is to identify the scope. Do you need a package? Do you need just one script? I mean, a well-written script? Do you need an application? Or do you want just to fast prototype something? Which language and which framework? That's the thing that I will suggest first, because you start developing things and you're like, oh, but I need a UI for it. Oh, and that you will waste a lot of time. So yeah, that's the first thing. And what I do when I have the big picture, and I'm just too lazy, for example, to generate a repo structure, then I will AI for that. For example, this is something that I've done already with this main. Let me just copy paste this thing. It's the main script. This is the original one. Okay. All right. Went too fast. So see, it gave me this sort of repo structure based on the code itself. Yeah. No, wait. No, I didn't mention that. Wait. Okay. Sorry. It's going too fast. Let me see. You judge, do you like this? Do you like this repo structure compared to the one that we've adopted? And these are things that AI can help you, generate. But if you want to go one step further, I haven't applied this, but because I'm afraid, generate a Python script. That'll create and populate this repo structure. It might not work, but still. Okay, let me just inspect. It looks fine to me. And it tells me, okay, there is no create file, okay, okay, it's right here, the file. Let me just do something because I'm other malicious command here. Well, I can roughly, it's fine, I don't. Okay. But once you get the structure, let me just, I won't run into because, well, I've already have a structure, but this is to show you that you can go faster because before, especially for me, you create, you touch a file, you make a directory and all that. It's good, but at the same time, I can do more things this way. So if I hit Python create project structure, I will get all the files. Then I'll just paste whatever I want. That's the thing. But you can go the old-fashioned way and create your directory here and touch every file. Choose the longest path traversal, so it will create all the intermediate, directories. But okay, that you have to choose, you have to judge, inspect the code. And for me, it works. That's what I do. And since the intent of this session is to share the good practices, not the best, because I don't pretend, but some good practices. And this is how I use AI, for example, to go faster, so that I will know. And finally, it's implement, test, debug, integrate. So, okay, this is exactly what I've just done here. It's about fast prototyping. I use the raw main Python file to ask for a modern repo structure, or if you have a reference, say from Google, from OpenAI, from your institution, or from your colleague who already have nice repo structure, you can just, copy that, and if that person agrees, if your colleague agrees to, take that repo structure. If you don't know, there is a command called tree. I won't run in here. Tree, for example, that give you the structure of your folder, and you can use that, for example. You give that to a model, you generate a Python script with all the directories, or you can just manually create them just like we did before. All right, so you can follow this path and judge and try to see if you will end with the same structure as before. And if you're happy with the solution, happy with the test, consider everything we've seen so far with the other sessions. And just be careful, AI, it might invent tools like import, whatever, and it doesn't exist. And I want to give you some advices, but I'll go a little bit faster. This is very important, and I want to insist on that. Sometimes it is helpful to mirror your prompt to an AI. You know, you want unit test, okay, I mentioned Google a lot, but it's because the data was used has more samples from Google, so that's why. Use that biases into a good thing. Once you get the refined prompt, don't mix up the context. Start a fresh new conversation. That's very important. So the model won't be distracted. You know, always refresh the memory somehow. So you will just focus on that thing, that refined prompt. And build your prompt space. That's a good thing too. You know, you have prompt for security. If you don't know, then just ask ChatGPT, okay, I want to work on some kind of things without mentioning this. What are good prompts for it? For security audit, for example, or how do I improve? And having those things in mind, within a year, they will still apply. Think about architecture and design based on what you are doing, and use AI once again to find the right tool. Use the AI of the moment to find the right tools, because now AI have access to internet, and you will be able to identify. Look, you can search for the open source tools that exist, and yeah, so I strongly recommend to keep that in mind instead of memorizing the hundreds of tools that are out there. One last important thing that I want to mention is how you add an MCP server in Continue or other. But first of all, who knows what an MCP server is? Please raise the hands, 1, 2. No? Only 2% know MCP? Okay, it's fine. MCP, well, before going there, MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. So basically, it's a protocol that allows LLM to connect to, say, search engine or calling function, use a calculator, you know, from a prompt, for example. That was a game changer because if you ask, for example, what is the weather in Annecy right now, I mean, an LLM alone won't be able to do it. But if we give it tools, then it will use the, say, call the weather tool and pass in as argument Annecy. That tool will be an API call somehow to Météo France and get the current temperature. So MCP, Model Context Protocol, it's an open source for connecting AI to external system. It's developed by Anthropic who create Claude, and now it is widely adopted by OpenAI, Google, and Mistral, and I think all big companies are using the MCP protocol like the HTTP for between AI systems and external tools. And you should think of it as a USB port, for AI applications. And you can plug in into that port either a calculator, a function, or API, or a database, and so on. So the benefits, just like I mentioned, is that you can have access, and this is how, for example, Copilot or Continue can write files, or can scan your document because it has access to your file system, Because in the very beginning, if you have a large language model, you can have access to a system. But if you implement tools, then you will have access to. And see, I was saying you can trigger tools, and maybe what about the P-Coffee MCP? And by that I mean, imagine in Continue asking for, I have this one. This script, the original script, is tied to the coffeecups.csv file. But what if I change my file? I want to use another file. And what if I want an interactive call? Like, look on my desktop, blah, blah, or generate a plot using the file, whatever, my coffee cups.csv, which is located, say, in my folder. This is the idea, that you want to send a prompt like this, and with an MCP server hooked to this script, it will able to execute it. When I run that, well, it won't work, because it will tell me, to generate this, that won't work. But if I implement one, it will work. It will trigger automatically with that file that I will provide. That's one of the things that you can do with an MCP server. So what we're going to do in this last minute is to use Context 7. Context 7 is a very useful server or a USB that we would like to plug into our IDE. And one of the benefits is that it will look for the last API or last package version, so that you can have a code which is up to date. Because sometimes there are packages that are deprecated, and Context 7 can help you update your code, for example. And that's very, very important. So in VS Code, it's pretty straightforward. What we're going to do, when you click that link, let me just zoom in. All you need is this part here, local server. See that YAML portion? I'm gonna, I don't even think the whole thing. But let me just go here. Locate these things, the tool things. And but first, you have to switch into the agent mode. MCP only works for the agent mode. And then when I'm going to click here, okay, these are my MCP. Oh, I've already set it up, but let me just, okay. I need to create. a new MCP, but let me, yeah, you click on that plus button here, and it will automatically open a new YAML config file, which is located in the .continue directory. Click on this plus button here, it will create a new YAML file. And I just need to rename it. Let me call it awesome context set. And awesome context 7. Okay. The only thing you're going to change here is this line. That's it. We'll copy paste from that. You just need to take this one. That's it. I'm going to copy this, the name of the MCP server, what it is, and put it here. And save the file, and that's it. Normally, if everything works well, it will appear here, my awesome. And see, now it means that it was refreshed, and that little button went from yellow to green. And the tools are here. You can check them. And by default, it says ask first, which means that the user has to give it a go. Okay, you can trigger the server. But since I trust that library, I'm going to put it to automatic mode. And we're good to go. So you must be in the agent mode, but the only issue, only problem is that you always have to say use context 7, use context 7 to fix, I don't know, this code. Okay, but I don't have a broken code, so what can I do? You need to have something which is outdated. I think I provided a code within the exercises, which is broken on purpose, with outdated packages. But let me just create a dummy thing. Okay, I don't know. Let me just see in the exercise notes. Yes. Okay, this is a very outdated code on purpose. It's exercise number 7. Let me just create it. Deprecate it. Okay, if I try to run it, I'll get errors because, well, things. But then I want to use this at deprecated code. And let's see what we'll say. Oh, okay. Says a lot of things, which are interesting. Okay. Okay. See, for example, it fixed the sklearn, scikit-learn, cross-validation. It's changed here automatically that it was changed to sklearn.model selection. And so But that doesn't mean it's working. I mean, you have to test it with the real data, but you get the point. The idea is that once you have an error, usually you will get something like, this package was deprecated. Then give that to context 7, and context 7 will fetch the latest API, the latest package version, and we'll try to fix it. And this way you can, so yeah, the PD concat was before append, which no longer exists with pandas. So it made a lot of changes, and then, so yeah, you can try this code, but at least you get the idea. And the good thing is that now that you've seen the procedure of adding context 7, it's the same thing, with other MCP server. So one of the things that you could do is to implement your own MCP server using the Python SDK, for example, to trigger this pipeline here of the main copy, main script of the pcoffee project. You can put that turn it into an MCP server. And that's very helpful. But let me just, since we don't, okay, that's, it's the same code I just applied for the exercise. I recommend to go through the exercise to see by yourself where here are more, remember that function that I've implemented before, to find the prime number or to determine if a number is a prime number or not. This was just for a demo, but you can turn that into an MCP server. If I visit this page, you will see the baseline code for it. See, this is, if you copy paste it and create a script, you'll be able to run your first MCP server. But I would like to go to the end, and we can go back if you want, because there are things that I need to say. But do you have questions so far? I know it's a lot, but
Could you ask the MCP to stay on your local environment and to fetch things outside?
That's a good question. Yes, if your MCP server is running locally as well, yes. And yeah, actually, you know what? Let me grab this script here and see what we get. Okay, I'm gonna create a file with that script, my first MCP. mcp.py. Okay, I'm just copy pasting. I mean, this is an official code from Entropic, so. But first I need to install MCP. So uv add MCP CLI with these double quotes here. All right, it's installed, fine. So once you've created an MCP server, you just need a Python file. It's where you import, this is just the standard syntax. From mcp.server.fastMCP, this is the Python SDK. You create an MCP by calling this object, and if you want to turn any function to a tool, you just add this decorator here, mcp.tool. That's it. So if I have my prime number function and I want to turn it into an mcp.tool, then you just add this decorator here. So since we are in def is prime, but yeah, well, I've already implemented. I don't know. It's somewhere. Or maybe I didn't get it. Okay, whatever. I'll just leave it for now. But for the demo, I will just keep going with this one. But one rule you should keep in mind is that LLM use text, you know. So if you want to turn any function to a tool, the LLM must know what that function does. The bottom line is that you need docstring. If you don't add docstring, then that function will not be found. That's the point. Even if you add the decorator here, it will be a tool, but the LLM is not smart enough to know, okay, well, I'm asked to add numbers, but it doesn't know which function to call. So you have to add, so my implementation was wrong. You have to add docstring so that the LLM will know that, okay, this function is the one that perform addition. Once you have this, okay, I'm gonna use not the streamable, but the standard. Let me remove this. stdio is standard input output, which means it's a local server. The one that was previously is called streamable HTTP, which means for remote server. And to test if my server is working, it's mcp run dev, uv run mcp dev, but it's my first MCP. And let's see if it's working. It will open up a web page. Okay. And let's see what we got. Let me connect. Connected. And you have a lot of things here, prompt, tools. But not only you can serve function, you have tools here. What I'm going to do is to list the tools and see. Okay, we have that add number, but is that the only one? Tool list? We have the add number and yeah, but we also have prompt, I guess. List the prompt. Yeah, greet your user, but the tools. Let me select the tools and I'm going to test if it's working before serving. Let me just say 3 and 45. I'm going to run the tool. If I get success, and the result is 65. Great. So my tool is working. I know it might be going a little bit fast, but please feel free to stop me if there is something you understand. The tool is working. So I can now use the tool. Let me just, and this is totally local. I mean, I can turn off the Wi-Fi and it will work. So under MCP here, okay, this is the one that I think I can add name, calculator, command, UV, args, run. Okay, let me just grab the real path of my first. I think it should work. if I, let me just check if it's working or not. Okay, did I miss something awesome? Okay. Let me just, okay. I will know the syntax. Oh, okay, just missing quotes here, but okay, all right. Oh, still here. Okay. No. It was type. Okay. Oh, why? Okay. All right. Is it working or not? Why is it not working? Let me just. Okay, let me just. Okay. Um, later and change this path. Okay, okay. Now my MCP appears here, but it's still on the. Okay, let me see. Okay, automatic. Okay, and what is the sum of? Okay, I don't need an LM for that. But I mean, still. Okay, well, it's pretty. So see, continue, use the calculator add tool. And the thing is that I can do, if I change my function, it will return me, because it's an LLM, it's something really stupid, it will answer the result. If instead of returning a plus b, I return a times b, it will return the sum of that is whatever implementation it is. So you are in control somehow of what it returns. This is the implementation, but let me just and maybe I need to store that to restore the server. Reload, and let's see what will happen. Okay. What is the sum of 45 and 1 and 2? See? I mean, which is, I mean, it should be a word. So an MCP, you can specify, your logic, and the LLM will use that function as long as it is triggered properly. So if you want, I can provide you explanation what happens behind, but really it's just prompting. And I should mention that not every LLM can be used with MCP. These are recent models which are called with tooling capabilities, that they can call tools, because not every LLM can be used with an MCP. CodeStral can. Some local model also can. But last but not the least, I'm not sure if it's the last one, but I'd like to say a few words about security and data privacy. And there is a session, I think, tomorrow about security and data privacy, and you should not neglect that. I'll just make sure that, you're not, your institution allows using AI for your work. You should make sure. One other aspect is to always send data with, without sensitive information, because you never know. Never paste API keys. That's a good thing too, because some folks were able to retrieve APIs from things like ChatGPT. So you know what? My neighborhood was screaming out loud some API keys, and I don't know, the LLM was complaining. So just be careful. People can hack even the most secure AI things just by prompting. And use local AI for sensitive work. I would like to also warn you about code when you debug with AI. Those traceback contains home directory structure, and the name of your project. And even with the name itself, it can tell what kind of project you're working on. So just be careful, don't paste the whole block to AI. I've already mentioned that a GitHub Copilot will scan your document, everything you put there. So just be careful. And finally, AI may suggest deprecated and packages. These are just the things that I already mentioned. And since I've talked about MCP server, you see what I've done with addition. That you can twist the logic. So if you use a remote server, make sure that it was really implemented by people you trust, by open source community. Don't just plug in every USB key in your computer. It's the same thing. You can, if you call, I don't know, you might end up into some serious issues. So yeah, this is optional. This is just to prompt and to audit your, if there is any security, but in this script was brief. There weren't really security issues. A few, but I've added this. We don't have time to go through this, but when you don't have time to think about it, this is a step-by-step guide towards Retriever, which is the backbone behind the RAG system. Basically, it's just a search engine. This one is based on a very simple algorithm. It doesn't use anything like embedding models and semantic search. This is for textual search, like the old Google search engine, but or Elasticsearch. But you can look on the slides. And finally, I won't be able to talk about vibe coding because I don't call it really assistance. It's about delegating all your work to an AI. But okay, I realize that this sounds like an Apple thing, like be the thinker, but it's true. I truly believe that you should design things on your own and leave AI to do the work that you don't want to do yourself, but do think design, your application, your code, even with a paper and pen, and actually with a vision language model. What you can do is to draw something on the board and take a picture. A vision will translate that into a diagram, and that works really, really well. Use AI at any time this year, next year, to find the best coding tools for your work or the best tool. Always review generated code. Think about security and privacy. And of course, use AI to learn. And finally, going a little bit faster, but iterate with AI. You won't get the perfect answer right away, but just, sometimes you iterate, and as AI models are becoming smarter and smarter, well, maybe that iteration won't take too much time. I have other stuff that I would like to mention, like vibe coding, which raise question which were already asked. Then, okay, what is left to do for us? I mean, are we becoming just designer, architecture, or what is the future of programming work? So I think it's a good time to stop. You have other things, but I think I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will not ask you to summarize.
Okay.
But I don't know if there are some questions.
Sure.
Quite specific question.
Sure.
Have you ever used like a pre-trained model and then tried to use it online with some of your specific things? So like retrain and then overtraining it and stuff.
Like fine-tuning a model?
Yeah. So I'm thinking a regular large language model, and then I give it, let's say, a description of how an instrument works, right? And then it should be used as a local chat that will answer questions also about this instrument when other users.
Oh, I'm not sure, but are you talking about this RAG thing that I mentioned? I don't know if you've heard about RAG before. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Basically, you have a model, and you have your document or database, and you want the model to answer questions based only specifically on the data.
Exactly. Yeah.
Actually, I was hired to do that at
Okay.
Sinner. So yeah, we do that. I mean, I know pretty well the subject.
Okay, we can.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's my first job. So yeah.
Maybe I have one question about, we are tired, but sometimes also it opens to AI is tired. They don't want to do everything. Just, I don't know if it's, what's the real cause of that, but perhaps it's a question of buffer or number of possibilities that they have to manage. And when you try to cross, for instance, tables or things like that, you have mistakes or they just stop to work at a
Really?
step. So did you have this experience on how to manage it? Often, I will start everything and I start from scratch. But
I remember when I was using ChatGPT or Claude, maybe it will ask me to create another conversation, because it reached the limit. But I think it's about the question I was asked before about context limitation. That LLMs have a certain amount of token that they use. There is a maximum they use to attend. And once when they reach that limit, well, since they don't want to provide inaccurate answer, they will ask you, you know what, I cannot take the whole history in my attention context, so you better start with a new. So I don't know if that partially is what you.
So we can perhaps ask in the prompt to warm when the limit is reached. Perhaps.
Yeah, that's one thing. But nowadays they are developing the memory management thing, that instead of having one huge conversation, what it does is that it summarizes, on the way, so that if it runs out of context, it looks at the summary. Okay, this is what we talk about somehow, so I can continue without losing context and provide irrelevant answers.
Yes, I've talked about this problem with some guys that know well the problem, and they explain that the context is limited. So when you begin a prompt, you have got all the information, and if you stay too long with the same prompt, with the same with ChatGPT, with the same things, and ask question, it's not a good idea, because when you reach the limit of the context, you lose your information. He keep a little in the beginning, wipe in the middle, and just keep the end. So if you have some information in the middle, you wipe it. So it's better to not stay too long with the same same topic.
So yeah.
Are there some final question?
Are you there?
So I think we can, thanks Hugo again.
My pleasure.